All right, it's the other big story we're watching for you this Monday morning. Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge is set to testify in the ongoing sexual harassment inquiry against him. He's been accused by Judge's Secretary Andiswa Mengo of inappropriate conduct, both in person and via electronic communication between June of 2021 and November the following year. These, of course, are claims he firmly denies. While some communication is undisputed, key elements is still contested. Watching developments for us is SABC News senior reporter Canny Maphanga, who's live to us now from Sandton. And Kenny, no need to explain why today is important.
Indeed, Ayanda, good morning to you and to the viewers at home. In just a few minutes, we'll hear that much anticipated testimony of the top judge regarding his version of events on the various serious allegations that he faces of sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, we know that the judge's secretary, Andiswa Mengo, accuses the judge president of alleged sexual harassment in the form of in-person interactions and electronic communications between June 2021 and November 2022. It's established, we're now on day 23 of these very important hearings, and it's been established that there are some issues between the pair that are not in dispute, and then of course there are critical issues critical to resolving this particular dispute that are in dispute between the pair. So the critical issues that we will be looking at, or we expect the testimony to deal with in quite great detail, are those alleged in-person interactions of November 2022. That is the allegation that Andiswa Mengo allegedly saw the judge president hugging his court manager in chambers, and of course the allegation that the judge president allegedly called Andiswa Mengo to his chambers and requested an act of a sexual nature. Then of course there is that important allegation regarding the image sent to Andiswa Mengo allegedly by the top judge of his allegedly male private parts. So we know that all of that is in dispute, and it is only the judge president that can give his version of events regarding those particular allegations that the tribunal must solve in order to establish whether or not there was sexual harassment in this probe. We saw that he brought 3 witnesses last week to assist in this case. I'm not sure if that was the case, because a lot of those witnesses left more questions than answers. He brought the former judge's secretary, that is Mbenenge, who disputed Andiswa Mengo's version of events with respect to the chambers incident and created the impression that the afternoon was so busy that the judge president would not have been able to do what Andiswa Mengo has alleged. But evidence leader advocate Selby was able to establish that she could not have been at her desk at all times. So it opens up the possibility of such an incident taking place. We then saw him bring an ICT expert, who we saw was more of the technical kind of expert than what we saw with Dr. Dakwat, which is someone who could interpret the human meaning or the human intention behind sending emojis. In his analysis, he found that the emojis that were used was consistent with the meanings ascribed to it in the Unicode, and then he only identified 2 which went beyond the meaning and had sexual connotations. However, advocate Selby in her cross-examination was also again able to establish that he did not have the social and linguistic expertise to give evidence on the human interpretation. So I'm not sure that that witness assisted either. Now, the third witness that the judge president brought was an ex-friend of Andiswa Mengo. When it became clear that the 2 still had friction and that she was coming to testify on the personal life and sexual history of Andiswa Mengo, it was established that the evidence was inadmissible and that this was a fractured relationship. So what would be presented before the tribunal would be hearsay evidence. So that witness wasn't even allowed to testify on the contents of the statements that she had put before the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. That leaves us with the judge president to now ultimately give his side of the events, as he is the person alleged to have committed this conduct, and he is the person in the electronic communications, and he is implicated in the in-person interaction. So ultimately, where the witnesses were not of assistance, it's up to him to bring the Judicial Conduct Tribunal into confidence and give his side of the version of events, which we know he will deny. And then of course with those issues in dispute, will have to clarify further and shed light to the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. So that hearing will begin in the next few minutes at 9:30 a.m. and of course we'll be giving you that live. Over to you in studio.
Absolutely, and we'll be watching it very closely. Canny Maphanga, live to us there from Sandton in Johannesburg. For now, thanks very much indeed.